Good morning, everyone. As I begin, I'd like you all to take a deep breath, close your eyes, and picture the best version of yourself. Not the one buried in deadlines, exhaustion, or stress, but instead, picture someone who wakes up every single morning feeling strong, sharp, and full of energy. Ask yourself, how far are you from this version of yourself? Well, here's what I think. I think that your greatest potential isn't locked up behind luck or talent. Instead, it's hidden in how well you take care of yourselves. In India, we love to plan everything, right? From our college, careers, marriage, and even our grandkids' names. But health usually takes a back seat, right until a doctor tells you that you need to avoid eating oily food, which, let's be honest, breaks us all a little. We wait for blood pressure, diabetes, or back pain to remind us that we need to take our health seriously. Meanwhile, our plates are 50% rice, 30% ghee, and 20% denial. I'm here today to convince you that your health should be your greatest obsession and not just an afterthought. Because when you take care of your health, it doesn't just make you feel better, it makes everything better. I'll begin with the one thing that creates the most drama in our lives: food. We all love eating, but let's face it, most of us have a love-hate relationship with what goes into our bodies. One day, we are drinking green juices and eating salads, and the next, we are inhaling pizza like we're in an eating competition. But here's the thing. We eat not only just to satisfy our cravings, but food fuels our body. It affects our mood. It determines how long we live. If your diet consists of vada pav, dabeli, and energy drinks, your body is probably screaming for help. And the scary part is, most of us don't realize it. If food is fuel, protein is the building block. It's crucial. Your skin, hair, muscles, and even your immune system depend on it. It helps repair your tissues, keeps you full longer, and plays a huge role in your metabolism. Yet, for some reason, protein is one of the most misunderstood nutrients out there. Now, being in India, I've heard a lot of people, especially my mom, say protein is only for bodybuilders, while others assume that if you consume a lot of protein, you'll magically turn into a wrestler overnight. And then there's the classic, I get enough protein from my dal, which, while great, isn't always enough. If you did not know, your body naturally loses your muscle mass through a process called sarcopenia as you age. Research shows that consuming adequate protein can slow this process down by maintaining muscle mass. Research also shows that a diet high in protein can aid in weight loss by increasing satiety levels, boosting your metabolism, and also increasing calorie burn. Now, while protein builds you up, there's something that silently breaks you down. The sweetest poison, also known as sugar. Sugar isn't just responsible for adding extra calories to your diet. It's a metabolic disruptor linked to some of the deadliest chronic diseases in the world, such as obesity, insulin resistance, and other metabolic diseases such as type 2 diabetes. The problem with sugar is that it's everywhere. It hides in processed foods, cereals, fruit juices, and even healthy snacks such as granola bars or flavored yogurts. When you consume excess sugar, it causes a rapid spike in blood glucose levels. This causes a surge in insulin. The sudden flood of insulin clears glucose from your bloodstream, leaving you with a sugar crash. It leaves you drained and feeling unfocused. You know what's even more alarming? It's that sugar is highly addictive. Research suggests that consuming sugar activates the same brain pathways, such as drugs like cocaine, leaving you craving for it more. The more you have sugar, the harder it becomes to stop. Now, you might be wondering why a 16-year-old such as myself cares so much about diet. After all, most people my age don't usually overthink what they eat. For those of you who don't know me, I'm an aspiring athlete. I play semi-professional football, and my teammates call me Preeti Pressure Cooker because of the intense pressure I put on my opponents when they have the ball. I love to run. I've always been the one sprinting until the very last second, outpacing all my opponents and pushing myself to my limits. Ever since I was a child, I've had a sweet tooth. When I was 4 years old, I would sneak into the kitchen, open the freezer, and have lots of ice cream. But what I did not realize is that I had slowly locked myself into the habit of sugar. Fast forward to last year, I was having tons of chocolates as well, thinking I could burn it off just because I run a lot. Then came the tournament in Chennai. I was my usual carefree self, confident in my abilities, and right before the match, I had loaded up on sugar, thinking it would give me an energy boost. But what happened next changed everything. The whistle blew, and I took my first step onto the field. But something felt off. My legs, they weren't light. They felt heavy. And my second step, heavier. My third, even worse. Every stride I took felt like I was dragging weights behind me. My feet weren't just tired. They felt like they were chained to the ground, just like anchors digging deeper into the earth. I tried to push through. I tried to shake it off and say that I just needed to warm up. But the more I ran, the more I felt the weight of gravity. My muscles were sluggish, and my energy drained faster than ever. And then, suddenly, the game I loved, the game I lived for, became a battle just to move forward. And for the first time, despite standing 6'3", taller than most of my opponents, I felt small. I felt powerless. And as I failed to chase down the opponents, as I watched the ball slip past me, I realized something. I wasn't just losing to my opponents, I was losing to myself. We lost that match, and I know exactly why. It was because I had let my own choices hold me back. Ever since that day, I decided to cut down on sugar and focus on foods that actually fueled me. The difference? Unbelievable. Today, I play harder, run faster, and feel sharper than ever before. Now, I also understand that not every one of you here is an athlete. Some of you have jobs, responsibilities, and stress weighing you down. Well, diet matters here too. Science has shown that the food you eat directly impacts your cortisol levels. So, in essence, you are what you eat. Now, let's move on to everyone's favorite thing to plan, but least favorite to actually do. Exercise. You know the drill. You buy those new running shoes, promise yourself that you'll hit the gym tomorrow, and when the moment comes, your bed looks like the coziest place in the world. Or maybe you do push yourself through one workout, feel like a superhero for 1 hour, and spend the next 3 days waddling like a penguin. Well, here's the truth. We were designed to move. Humans are built for activity, and not just short bursts of sprinting. We are built to run. Humans are uniquely adapted to run long distances, which is something that sets us apart in the animal kingdom. Think about it. We have sweat glands that help cool us down while we are on the move. We have long legs to take efficient strides. We have foot arches that behave like springs and absorb shock with every step we take. We have lungs that deliver oxygen throughout all parts of the body. And we have a heart which can sustain long efforts without overexerting itself. We are endurance machines. But endurance isn't just physical, it's mental too. The ability to persist in the face of discomfort isn't just about how strong your legs are, it's also about how strong your mind is. Recently, my brother gave me a book called Grit by Angela Duckworth. I found it fascinating because it showed an understanding of what separated high achievers from the rest of the population. And right there, in the very first few pages of Grit, I found the definition of grit. Grit is passion and perseverance for very long-term goals. Grit is having stamina. Grit is sticking with your future day in and day out. Not just for the week, not just for the month, but for years, and working really hard to make that future a reality. This got me thinking, what drives athletes to perform at their best? I tried to scour the internet and connect the dots between grit and everything I knew about health and performance. Here's what I found. Grit isn't just a mindset. Grit is something you can train, just like a muscle. It's about how your brain rewires itself with every single repetition. Let's take running as an example. Every time you lace up and you push yourself to run just a little further, you activate a part of your brain called the anterior mid-cingulate cortex. This part of your brain is responsible for motivation, persistence, and effort. Think of it as the brain's endurance muscle. The more you push yourself to do something, the stronger it gets. Now, when you engage in something difficult, such as something as demanding as running, your brain's anterior mid-cingulate cortex is activated to help deal with the physical and mental strain. Over time, this neural connection strengthens, making it easier for you to persist in the face of discomfort. In other words, the more you run, the more your brain gets conditioned to handle the effort and push through fatigue. Now, this doesn't just apply to running. This applies to every other habit you build. Whether it's running, focusing at work, or even daily routines, this applies everywhere. The more you do something, the more automatic your brain gets conditioned to do it. Your brain rewires neural connections and strengthens them associated with that activity, making it feel less like a struggle and more like second nature. Now think about something in your own life. Maybe it's studying for a few more minutes when you feel like giving up. Maybe it's staying focused at work instead of reaching for your phone. Or maybe it's saying no to the extra spoonful of sugar in your coffee. That single moment of pushing through discomfort is where growth begins. Because when you push yourself to do something, you're training your mind and body to endure. That persistence is what builds strength, resilience, and long-term success. Now, persistence alone isn't enough. Growth doesn't just happen when you push. Growth happens when you give yourself time to recover. Because no matter how strong you are, if you don't recharge, eventually you will burn out. This brings us to the final piece of the puzzle, recovery. Now, I know a few people that wear sleep deprivation like a badge of honor. They say, I work harder than everyone else, as if running on fumes is something to be proud of. But what they don't realize is that sleep isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. And to be fair, I do get their point, especially as a student. We've all been there. The night before an exam, books open, caffeine levels dangerously high. And you tell yourself, just one more chapter. Suddenly, it's 4 a.m. and you realize you've spent more time fighting sleep than actually studying. But what you don't realize is that 1 hour of revision does not help. It actually hurts. Research suggests that sleep-deprived brains struggle to retain information. So while you think you're cramming in knowledge, you're actually forgetting faster because your brain is too exhausted to process anything properly. Sleep is also when your body repairs and rebuilds itself. Without sleep, your body is flooded with cortisol, the stress hormone. This is responsible for breakdown of muscle mass, weakening your immune system, and also making you feel drained. Now, the lack of sleep doesn't make you groggy. It actually makes you dumber. Studies suggest that missing even one night's worth of sleep can slow your reaction time, can impair decision making, and affect your memory. So these symptoms are similar to those of a mild concussion. So pulling an all-nighter, it doesn't make you a superhero. Instead, it makes you brain dead. So let me be clear. Sleep isn't optional. If you're trying to build muscle, stay sharp, and actually perform at your best, sleep is non-negotiable. Your greatest wealth is always going to be your health. I'd like to end this talk with the quote I keep hearing from someone I look up to, my football mentor and coach, Mr. Annika Bay Francis. He says, saying consistently good is better than being occasionally great. So let's take one step, one meal, and one choice at a time, because a healthier you would always mean a healthier future. Thank you.